Warning, this video and all other videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest any capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all. Alright, hello members, this is the members only weekend update. So here are your expected timeframes for the cycle lows. You can take a screenshot of this, make a note of this. That is where we are aiming for. And I've a few things to say today, okay? I want to start off with the stock market. First of all, the stock market is essentially no changes, right? We continue to be surprised, well I do at least, that we keep holding this third and final angle, but I don't really care, right? So long as it holds, then I'll stay long and strong, and I'm really happy with what I'm seeing. As you can see from my yellow squiggle, we're kind of in that neighborhood where if the yellow squiggle is going to be correct, we should see a top soon. But whether or not that comes to fruition is to be determined, so we'll find out. For now though, we'll just keep pushing that trade and see what the market gives. Same deal for the NASDAQ, right? I'm looking for swings, reversals and breakdowns, but no sign of them as of yet. And the Dow may or may not be putting in a swing, or of course this could resolve to the upside. As ever, line in the sand is the support in red, and all the while we're trading above that long and strong. The exact same is true of the Russell 2K. Okay, so I'm just sitting back, letting the market do the work for me. I don't have to get too cute here. I don't have to try and do anything too flashy. We'll just use a simple trend line, and that will keep me in the trade until it becomes unreasonable to remain long. One thing I do like the look of is the VIX, okay? For a long time we've been talking about this. Hopefully going to get it down somewhere between my two green lines, which is about 12 and 8 or 8.5. And if we can do that, and we don't know, but if we can see a low somewhere in here, then I would think that becomes the VIX trade that I've been lining up for a very, very, very long time, very, very patiently waiting for it. Now, any kind of trend line break should probably see this thing start to actually put a tradable low in. So I'm keeping a close eye on this. I can see a lot of people getting gun shy and stuff, or excuse me, not gun shy, trigger happy. I can see a lot of people that are really chomping at the bit to take this trade. And I mean, you do you, right? But for me, the types of instruments that I use are very expensive. I need to be able to catch this move as quickly as possible, right? So if we do something like this and trade around for a while, I know from a risk-reward ratio, it's not bad, right? You're risking a couple of points stop for potentially new highs, but this will be very, very expensive for me to hold if I see something like this. So for me, I'm looking at actually get the low or as close to the low as possible, and I want this thing to essentially give me a low and then spike. That's what I'm hoping for. So I'm in no rush, okay, as ever. I'll take it one day at a time, but it does seem to, wholly speaking, be going in the right direction at least. So I like what I'm seeing from that. And that's really all there is to say about the stock market. Watching these levels very closely, watching this supports, okay, the upward sloping red third angle. And all the while we're above, then we're long, right? And the inverse is true as well, of course. Next up, also pretty simple, the precious metals, okay? We should well be on our way to a daily and a weekly cycle low. I would say, what day are we on now? Okay, so as of Friday, that was day 16. So anywhere between 22 and 28 would be bang average. Okay, so sometime around the 20th of December, maybe, sometime in there, we should be able to find a tradable low. So how low it goes is anybody's guess. But as you can see, we're towards the middle of this timing window that we've had here for a very long time. And so once we find a tradable low and a swing, you can expect to see me add a whole heap of mining stocks and gold and silver positions and all of that kind of thing. If you're a newer member, there's an entire video devoted to gold miners that was posted a couple of weeks back, so go and find that. It'll have gold and silver in the title or something like that. For everyone else that's seen it, you should know what the plan is and be ready as well. And then last but not least, of course, we've got Bitcoin. So when we take a look at Bitcoin, notice how, roughly speaking, the yellow squiggle, okay, we found a couple of drives. This was on a liquidation wick, but whatever. You know, it's a low right in the expected timing window. We're now pushing off. A little bit of a battle around 100K makes sense. And then it should be time to see this thing really start to squeeze to the upside. So long and strong continue to push there. Okay, I'm not big on trading out of half cycle lows personally, although I don't mind trading other assets out of the half cycle low. But I would think that roughly speaking, this yellow squiggle is going to play out. I'm expecting a push, okay, a cycle low shakeout, and then another push out of that low. And once we've found this daily cycle low, I'm probably going to use that as a final line in the sand. So happy days so far. If I turn off this stuff and turn on, let's turn off this as well, and this, and we'll turn on the hyperwave and put it on the weekly time frame. So far, so good, right? Plenty of space. Hard to make the case that we're in any sign of trouble or danger here. So long and strong on both the longer term and the shorter term timeframes for Bitcoin. The crypto-related equities are where we start to get quite interesting. So I gave a bunch of trade ideas and setups this week. You can see I haven't added Coinbase, but I am still holding a longer term allocation at the lows that I'm actually looking to unwind anywhere up in here. So expect some updates on that, similarly to how I've recently unwound my Microstrategy position. I'm going to do Microstrategy last because I've got some very interesting things to show you about that. Riot, roughly speaking, okay, still going according to plan, still looking to add if we can get a breakout of the downward sloping purple resistance line. For Marathon, still holding a core allocation of this as well and looking to unwind that somewhere up in this neighborhood. I don't really see any tradable positions for me personally. I don't like how wide my stop would need to be to trade this. But like I said, if we can get some kind of squeeze up into here, then I'll be looking to unwind that position as well. CLSK, everyone's favorite stock, but I mean, I don't know why, okay? I have no good read on it, and that's why I keep staying away from it. It also doesn't seem to be doing much of anything, so yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Bitfarms is right into resistance, as you can see, so I would hope and think that finally this week we're going to get a push. Okay, I guess it largely depends on whether or not Bitcoin can decisively move up through 100k, but if we can get a breakout on my downward slope in red, then expect to see me add this long at long last. Hut is slowly but surely getting into that neighborhood where once again I'm going to be thinking about unwinding some of this position, because I mean, as of Friday's close, we're getting on for 300% now. So, you know, a little bit more of a squeeze, and then I'm not going to be greedy, okay? We'll be selling trendline breakdowns and seeing what happens from there. For now though, long and strong, happy with that. Cypher is looking quite similar, isn't it? We've got a range break and it's holding support, so if you're in this trade, there's no problem with pushing that until the support breaks. For BTBT, it did indeed confirm a breakout. Again, I'm not sure how many of these trades I can really take, right? I've given you plenty of ideas and setups, but I hope you can understand I've got so many positions and I can't really overexpose myself. I have to keep my risk managed. So I am trying to add as many positions as I can, but at the same time, I need to make sure that I don't add too many and then perhaps Bitcoin suddenly throws a surprise shakeout. So I'm doing my best to add whilst keeping the risk management and sector risk contained. But this right here is indeed a confirmed breakout. So it's only reasonable, I think, to expect this thing to continue to follow through to the upside. No position from me as it stands though. Wolf, a couple of positions, and of course these are very comfortably in profit now. Again, like 250 odd % there, and another, I guess that's about 100%. So happy days. I see a lot of people asking why I didn't add to Wolf. Okay, well, the simple answer is I've got a core allocation, I've got multiple trading positions, and my profit target was really just anywhere up in this neighborhood for Wolf. So again, expect me to start to unwind this position if we can get up here. I really don't think the risk reward from 8 to 12 or 14 is super acceptable to me. So we'll see how it goes, right? We'll see how it goes. For now though, long and strong on these two positions, like I said, similarly to some of those other positions, looking to unwind up here. IREN has finally come alive as well, so happy days there. Long and strong continue to push. Not much else to say about this apart from get above about 2022, and once more I'll be thinking about locking down some gains here. I did add a second position for Hive in the week and I notified you. So the first position, happy days, okay, that's squeezed up a little bit. Then notice what we got. If I draw our eyes to this downward slope in red here, okay, we got breakout, retest, resumption, and that coincided with a half cycle low. So I thought to myself, well, it doesn't feel comfortable, but let's add anyway. Okay, that's what we got to do sometimes, double the exposure. We use the profit from the first trade to finance the risk on the second trade. So I can double my exposure here without taking any additional risk. You can see, as per the community tab post and this video, I've choked the stop up from the first position to the same level as the second position, which means if price is to trade down and stop me out here, it will close the whole lot out and I'll walk away with this tiny slice of profit from here to here. So won't be anything to write home about, but as you can see, this is how I've doubled my exposure to this asset without having to increase my risk. So hopefully this thing can follow suit. Hopefully we can get some kind of big push here, and then we'll have twice as much exposure to capture whatever gains the market has got to offer me. And just before we do MicroStrategy, let's do a little bit of summing up for this. Okay, so there was an opportunity to buy this kind of bull flag breakout if you were interested. Like I said, there's also for me going to be opportunity to unwind this position if we get a little bit higher up from the longer term accounts. For Riot, I think this has a good squeeze left in it, and there's an opportunity to add on downward slope in purple. Marathon, similarly to Coinbase, no trades from me, but looking to unwind the core allocation slightly higher up if we can get there. Still being patient and waiting for a breakout on Bitfarms, so we'll see if we can get it. Hut, similar idea, okay, looking to unwind if we can get a little bit higher up. Wolf, similar deal, looking to unwind if we can get a little bit higher up. IREN, similar deal, also looking to unwind. And Hive, looking to see if we can get that squeeze, okay, in between, just letting the stop do the worrying. So there's a few trade ideas, there's a few setups for sure. But we are in that neighborhood, like I've said a million times, where I've got to start to nail down some gains. Okay, I don't think these moves are going to go on forever. I still don't think Bitcoin has got a proper right translated cycle where it ends in October. I still don't think that's on the table at this moment in time. And of course, if I nail down some gains and then setups present later in life, we can always get back in, right? Or I certainly can. So that's my idea. It's been a while since I've been talking about taking some off the table or not being uber long and strong, but we're finally in that neighborhood now where I think it's time for me to start to continue to nail down some gains. And that brings me on to Microstrategy. There's a lot of conjecture and speculation around this asset at the moment. Okay, there's a lot of wild things going on, but I got to show you just, I don't know what everyone's talking about, to be completely honest. Okay, first of all, as I'm sure you know, we've had not only 3 of Camel's angles, but 4. Okay, and the 4th one has now broken down. It's breakdown retested and resumed. Okay, retest, higher retest, still resuming to the downside. As I've been consistent in saying, it's probably not just got any chance of doing this. It would at least have to make a touch of the 3rd angle first. So we might see something like this, 3rd angle, and then if it's going to make a new high, and I really don't think it is, I'll show you why in a second, that would be the time to do it. On a balance of probabilities, I maintain that is the top. Hyperwave completed at 5:30 with the target made, and we'll see something like this, a grind and a breakdown. And again, all of this is just exactly what parabolic blow-off tops do. We saw that exactly the same time around from last time. This yellow fractal that I've just put on here is from MicroStrategy's prior parabolic blow-off top. That's all that is, copy and pasted and then stretched out a little bit. And as you can see, it doesn't look too far from reality so far. It seems very much on the table to me. So I still maintain it's a market and anything can happen. I'm still not 100% sure of myself that it can't make a new high, but I am about 85+% confident that it's not going to. Now, I can further support this with evidence by turning on Hyperwave and going to a weekly time frame. Okay, now, again, look what we did here. Okay, if we really zoom in, we fired not 1, but 2 weekly closes now below the phase 4 trend line. Now, according to Hyperwave theory, that is, and this is Hyperwave's words, not mine, 100% certain that that is indeed the top and it will not be making a higher high. Now, I don't like using the term 100% certain in markets because anything and everything is on the table all the time, right? But according to Hyperwave theory, we can have 100% certainty that that's it. We're not going to put in a new high, okay? And according to me, I'm going to say 85%, right? I might even say 90 or 95%, but I'm just not confident in saying 100% ever in markets. But as you can see, that's absolutely broken down. Okay, no rhyme or reason. No, you can't argue with that. That is definitely broken down now. And even if we try to be as sort of nice as we can and we use the close, okay, we're still broken down. So I don't think anyone that is bullish on MicroStrategy here is correct. And one thing that is alarming to me is the number of people that keep saying, Camel, you don't understand, bro. It's a flywheel, bro. Like, everyone's got these ideas and they've got fag packet calculations, right? As I'm saying this, I'm wondering if anyone's from overseas. In England, we call cigarettes fags. Okay, so that's not a homophobic slur. I don't know if I needed to clear that up, but yeah, a fag packet calculation is when you use your cigarette box to scribble some calculations on. Anyway, I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, I'm seeing a whole heap of people doing back of the napkin calculations and coming up with $10,000 per share for MicroStrategy. Okay, now I just don't see it. Okay, I'm a chart guy. What I see is a hyperwave that has now completed. Okay, now not only has it completed by breaking down, okay, but it also made a perfect touch of the target that it was predicted to make based off of the amount of percentage gains here expected in half the time in the next wave. So it did that to the tick, and now it's broken down. Coupled with everything else I've shown you, I still maintain that this is topped. And therefore, my yellow squiggle should be what we observe in the coming days and weeks. And once more, that brings into account, doesn't it, that maybe this is leading, maybe this is going to show divergence, right? So we get MicroStrategy do the yellow squiggle, Bitcoin puts in its higher high because this is already forward priced Bitcoin. And then from there, we see that earlier top come in for Bitcoin. So wholly speaking, I think MicroStrategy has given us the heads up here for what's to come. Now, I wanted to show you one other thing that somebody called Mitch brought to my attention. Okay, I'm going to play you a couple of minute clip of Michael Saylor confirming what me and Kimo Zabi have been talking about for a while. Okay, Kimo and I were concerned that if Bitcoin and MicroStrategy top, we enter a bear market, the holders of the bonds, the convertible debt, would at some point say, you know what, I want my equity or cash. And this would force Saylor to sell the equity to come up with the cash to repay the bondholders. Now, whenever you bring this up to a MicroStrategy bull or someone from the irresponsibly long MicroStrategy group in the Twitter sphere, what you notice is they all immediately start calling you a fool, a moron, an idiot, you don't understand the math, bro, all of this. If there is no margin, it can't be margin called. Okay, fine. But the reality is, okay, this is from Saylor himself. Have a listen.
There's no ability for the debt holders to recall the debt. There's no liquidation price, so to speak. Is it all? Is the conversion in place of any kind of right to recall the debt?
Yeah,
specifically,
it's very
if Bitcoin goes down.
People think it's debt. It's convertible debt. It's unsecured. No recourse.
No recourse.
What that means, Ron, is that Bitcoin could go from $100,000 to $1,000. The debt's not getting called. There is no recourse. Bitcoin can go to $1. You see, Bitcoin can literally go to 1 penny. The debt doesn't have. There's no call feature. And so it's like basically someone loans you billions of dollars and you agree that in 5 years you will either pay them back in cash or in stock. But you know what happened is if Bitcoin crashed by 75%, the stock would trade down. We would just pay off the debt with stock. We would just pay off the debt with stock. We would just pay off the debt with stock. So the risk isn't in the debt so much as it's in the equity. But the point, and the people are like, oh, well, that makes the equity more risky. Well, yeah, that's the point. The point is the people buying the equity want the equity to trade down harder than Bitcoin, and they want the equity to trade.
All right, that's enough of that. But you heard it from his own mouth, right? They will dump that stock to repay in a bear market, and that's a feature, not a bug, of the share price, right? If it's going to move harder and faster on the way up, it's also going to move harder and faster on the way down. So, no, when me and Chemo said this was possible, and we would likely see this to drive price down to these seemingly ridiculous targets of $35 a share, which, by the way, comes from Hyperwave, which would just be a return to phase one, right? It's 33 to 35 bucks a share now. That's where we're targeting according to Hyperwave theory. And again, how does it get there? Well, he's never going to sell, blah, blah, blah. Well, no, he is, okay? This is a higher beta asset. It's going to hugely underperform Bitcoin to the downside, or overperform, whichever word you want to use. And then he's going to start to dump the stock to pay back the bondholders that are tired because they too thought this thing would go up only forever. So we have the perfect storm here to see this thing trade all the way back down to $35. That really excites me, so long as the company doesn't go broke, and I don't think it will. Again, it's not 100% certain, it couldn't be, but it is a non-zero probability that it does. Anyway, if it can make it all the way back down there and we time that with a 4-year cycle low, then I believe this will be a monster trade, an absolutely monster trade, which for me is quite exciting. But I do think for now, getting out of the way of the market, not being too bullish and being cautious here is absolutely the right call. Not to mention, as I've shown a million times, this tends to lead what's coming for Bitcoin. So there's no reason to believe that if this is coming for MicroStrategy, that Bitcoin isn't about to top sometime in this window as this thing makes a high followed by a lower high. I would expect Bitcoin to continue up and then top to follow it down, since that's what it does. Okay, it leads. And I even saw in the comments when I was talking about this in the week that plenty of people were saying, oh, I don't believe you, Camel. I don't believe it leads. It's like, this is who you're up against, right? People that can't even be bothered to overlay a MicroStrategy chart on a Bitcoin chart and see for themselves. So anyway, a lot of rambling, a lot of talking here, but wholly speaking, I stand with the base case that this is correct. This has topped. It's not going to make a new high, almost certainly, but not 100%, of course. And for me, true confirmation where I become 100% certain of myself would be, this is the daily chart now, once we do what I expect us to do, which is touch this line, grind it up a little bit, and then break it down. That's also where I'm looking for shorts. 1, nice tight stop, and 2, ultra high probability setup, and 3, as I said, once we get this, assuming we do, then I can say at this point in time, once we've got a true breakdown, I am 100% certain we will not be trading above the highs and we are truly in a bear market. By the time we get here, I also expect Bitcoin's top to be truly in. So pretty wild times, right? Pretty wild times. And again, if this is right, and we don't know that it is just yet, but we're pretty sure it is. If this is right, then again, if this is going to start to top and move downwards, then you can hopefully see now why I am getting ready to take some profit on these other mining stocks, getting ready to think about seeing Bitcoin have a final squeeze and exit the market there as well. And again, all of this would be occurring against a backdrop of the stock market probably looking to violate its third and final blow off top angle. So slowly but surely we're getting into that neighborhood. For now, I think we can still be trading, we can still be long and strong. But we do have to pay attention to a few things. And if MicroStrategy is leading to the downside, what are we seeing for Nvidia? Well, Nvidia, is this breakdown retest resumption on the weekly time frame? Are we seeing a similar kind of setup here? Okay, it's a little too early for me to have any confidence. I would think this is probably going to do a similar thing, trade down to here and then break down. That's in the bearish scenario. Okay, if somehow we don't get that and what we get is a touch and a new high, then again, we can say, okay, happy days. We'll just keep being long and strong and maybe this bull market does have legs. But as it stands, I'm not super convinced that's what's coming. Microsoft is showing us an encouraging sign, right? So far, that is a breakout. The thing to watch here is this a breakout that resolves to new highs? If so, that is a piece of evidence in the favor of seeing this bull market continue for a while. Happy days. Okay. If, however, what we get is a lower high or a double top here, okay, again, huge red flag from the market. So we'll keep tracking this. We'll see what happens. Google, you can see what I was saying last time. If it's going to break out, that would be hugely bullish, right? If we can do that, happy days. But if this thing again is going to continue to kind of reject at resistance and break down ultimately, that once more would be another huge tell from the market, wouldn't it? That would be the leaders leading on the way down, following in MicroStrategy's lead. Netflix so far not firing warning signs unless you consider going vertical a warning sign. But technically until it breaks down, then it's not a warning sign, right? But again, if this thing's going to break down soon and then perhaps morph into this look, you can see the pattern here, okay? So we'll keep checking in on these big ones. I think Apple is looking a lot better at the moment. Doesn't look too bad to me. This TA is pretty messy. Let's put this here, I think. Yeah, we'll do that. So far breakout, right? But this could easily, and we don't know yet, this could easily just be some kind of big Wyckoff distribution. This is the up thrust to take the liquidity, and then it morphs into this. And again, if it does, and we don't know yet, but if it does, that will once again be the leaders letting us know what's up ahead of time. So we need to keep an eye on this. And of course, the inverse is true. If we get this from here and it keeps screaming higher, then again, I think the people that are saying, you're wrong, Camel, this bull market's early, okay, we're early in a melt up, we're going to run well into the next year, then maybe, you know, if the market proves that to us, maybe they're correct. Okay, but for them to be correct, we do need to see the leaders continue to lead. As ever, stay tuned for some updates. I think we're going to have some metal positions to play. We might have to play defensive if we get breakdowns in the stock market. And as ever, we've done the crypto stocks to death. Oh, I almost forgot. Jasmine, hilarious. Okay, so yeah, all right, fine, we'll take it. I don't know how much this is. This is, yeah, okay, 160%. So nothing to write home about just yet, although nothing to be sneezed at either. I think I made this quite clear. If we can get to 0.1 in the not too distant future, I'm probably going to have to take some off. And I would think if we can get to 0.2, then I'll be completely out of the market. So yeah, for now, long and strong, okay? And I'll update you if I have something to say. Other than that, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Trade safe, watch the levels, and until next time, take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.